Welcome, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi.
Ariandis.
Hey, everybody.
Maven.
Hey, y'all.
And Sans Winda.
Hello.
And this week we'll begin with the sad news and...
I feel like I should play Roy Rogers' song, Happy Trails to You, only probably very few people would even recognize that song. Yes. This is my last show. Let me put it this way. It's my last every week show because I am fine coming back to visit. It's just, like I was telling everybody before we went on the air, I have what I come to think of as the co-host syndrome, which real life has gotten in the way for me, and my weekends, especially now that we're going on daylight time, my work is like taking up all my week. I'm hardly getting any game time in, and then my weekends I'm like trying to catch up dealing with stuff on the property. So I just finally, mainly because I'm not getting that much game time in, I just said, you know what? I think I should just, bow out and then come back when I have something to say, which won't be very often.
Which means you'll be just visiting instead of in jail?
Right. Right. So it's like, I don't know, part of me is like, I don't want to go completely, but then again, I'm not playing as much as I was, so I don't have a lot to add every single week, but I could come back occasionally.
Please come back occasionally.
Please and thank you.
Yeah. Hopefully the listeners agree with you guys. So it's my last official consecutive, what do we call that? Ongoing show. Yes.
Okay.
But I won't be a stranger. How's that sound?
At least your last show is one where we do have some news to speak about.
There you go.
So let's head into our news. And our first little bit is that we have the release of Update 22, The Legacy of the Necromancer.
So far, so awesome.
Yes, I haven't gotten through all of it yet, and I don't know if anyone here has.
No, other than, we've gotten through it in the sense of having toured the area, and I tell you, Standing Stones does landscape like nobody else. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
So good.
But I presume that WoW was an expletive and not that you're comparing us to WoW.
No. Oh, thank God you made that. Thank God you made that distinction. No. I completely forgot about that. Awesome. Say it's awesome.
Awesome. Okay. Yes. So I know that some people don't like that Mirkwood is a Mirkwood. Well, it's in the name.
Not anymore.
Okay. Yes, they have changed the name up, but it'll take it a while before the wood gets cleansed enough to.
Though it totally makes sense for it to still be murky, because there's this quest that asks about where the spiders went, and then it asks you to kill spiders as part of this quest. Like, either they're all gone or they're not all gone. And apparently they're not all gone. But they want us to go find out where they all went.
Yeah, I got a little further down a quest today, and I thought to myself as I was doing this quest, Sans Winda is not going to be happy about this.
Yeah, I've just looked at the description for this quest after picking it up, and I'm like, really?
Well,
Elves?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the definition of gone?
Well, if you think that's bad, wait till you find out why they're gone.
Oh
boy. Dun.
Yeah,
I got the perfect loading screen for Sans the other day. It was the wood full of cobwebs, which was awesome.
Oh boy.
You mean like in Scuttledells or in some places?
No, really just kind of trees and cobwebs. That's all that was on the screen.
Oh, yuck. I can imagine that Sans wouldn't be happy with that.
That might make me rethink why I was going into that area.
Yeah.
At first, I thought you were going to say, maybe I should rethink why I'm friends with these people, because I keep, why do I keep playing this game?
Very well. Now, the things of special note are, of course, that we have 2 more chapters of the Black Book of Mordor to find out what is going on with our not-so-friends over in Mordor, as they are, of course, they're plotting their evil stuff. And even Mo is plotting evil stuff, apparently.
Apparently. Or he's not happy with the evil stuff being plotted.
And we also, of course, we have the strongholds of the north, which are the new areas where we'll be visiting. We'll be visiting the halls of Elven King Thranduil. We'll be going to Dale. And then, of course, to Erebor. So all sorts of fun places we can visit. And maybe we'll actually be able to get there and do those quests as we are doing in there, but we're just getting started now. And we also have a new name for Mirkwood. And of course, that's now known as Erin Lasgalen, which is the
Something
wood
elfy.
green leaves.
Something
Yeah.
healthy.
Which roughly translates to something elfy.
Yeah, something elfy, that's right.
I can be bothered to remember what name the elves have suddenly decided to call this forest that for my entire time of playing LOTRO has been Mirkwood.
Well, sometimes I might go and fall into the old name of Mirkwood before it was Mirkwood, and that was, I believe it was called the Greenwood the Great or something like that. So calling it Greenwood sounds like a reasonable thing to call it also. At least it's wishful thinking at the way things are at the moment, but...
Isn't that sort of what Aaron whatever translates to?
Oh, I guess I thought it meant
It's wood of the green leaves or something like, which is...
Yeah, wood of the green leaves is what it says. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Which is kind of the same thing as the greenwood, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a fancy elvish name for it.
Well, that's fancy nails, yes, of course. And starting this coming Wednesday, we will have the beginning of Lay of Rust and Rime, which is a series of strongholds in the north and game episodic quests that will become available on each Wednesday. So therefore, this is sort of a high-end bingo boffin, I guess?
I was thinking it's bingo boffin for the level cap people.
Yeah.
Except it actually sounds like it might be a little bit more interesting than that, and I'm kind of super excited to see it.
Right. So therefore, our Thursday group is going to try doing this, assuming it doesn't require us to finish the content first.
Maybe. And I kind of want to do the story first. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I mean, the Black Book of Mordor has captivated me since it came out, so I kind of want to do that
point
first.
There. You do have a point.
Besides, at that point, there will be like several episodes already out that we can kind of just catch up on.
You do have a point on that matter. So that is something that you could either rush right in and do, or you might want to wait a little bit in order to avoid the hordes.
I mean, I'm sure that there are people who have finished the content already. It's been out for like 5 days now. I'm just not one of those people.
Yes. Well, it's obvious that some people have finished the main part of the content already because you had the complaints when the dailies had to be shut down temporarily as they were trying to resolve an issue with them. And there's still an issue with 1 or 2 of the quests, but they reopened the quests that are completable.
That just boggles the mind because I don't understand the hurry to rush through and do the story stuff.
I don't either. I don't get that either.
Well, yeah, that there is that little problem.
It might be sort of like the mentality. Some people like to watch a TV show as it comes out and they watch it the night of, whereas some people are okay like letting a couple episodes build up. Maybe it's the same kind of thing. I don't know.
Could be.
Well, when I was young, you didn't have the first of those options. No, you had to take the first of those options. You couldn't just let them build up because it was just before VCRs. And
Actually, the new version of it could be like a show comes out on Netflix, and when they do the show, the whole season comes out, and it's like somebody just sits down and binge watches the whole thing in one sitting versus somebody that watches it, episode by episode. So that's probably more.
Well, I do that with
logically.
Netflix, but I don't do that in the game.
Then we also have other notes in here where the dwarven avatars have been updated. Now, I haven't played a dwarf since then, so
I love the new look of my dwarf. Love it.
And the opening screen, the character screen, oh my goodness.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
the new character select screen is pretty
wow.
A lot more active in there. Like, for example, you have the hobbits in the background doing work while the hobbits are in front of the hobbit holes there.
I love the man one with Minas Tirith in the background. It's beautiful.
And the Swan Knights.
Yeah.
And you can turn them around and you can see like a 360 view of the scenery as well as your character.
That's right.
Oh, nice.
That's right. Yeah.
I haven't done that, but now I need to.
So yes, very good job on updating those areas. And that brings them into line because the High Elf one was very different from the other. So this brings everyone's into more of the line of the tech used for the High Elf loading screen. And it says humans and elves have more facial avatar choices. I don't think I really looked at the facial different. Actually, I think I did play around with the face because when I was building a human character yesterday, that's right, I think I did click through a few more that I was wondering, yes, there are a lot more than there used to be, it looks like. Not that I usually worry about what the face is like. I don't know how much bother you usually do on the exact look of your face.
Yeah, I don't worry too much because I see him from behind. So
yeah, there is that. You got a point there.
It's like my Bjorning. I go to all this trouble to do a really cool tattoo, and then I never see it.
Well, there is that. And let's see. Oh, they announced the featured instances for this update. And the featured instances for update 22 are Bells of Dale, most appropriate. Sorry, Suma, Austenindale, Webs of the Scuttledells, the North
Also
Content
appropriate.
Farms, and
Webs of the
O's to
Scuttledells, go on.
Dunhull.
Yeah, but it's one of the wings of Ostenhoth, right?
The Wound and Fear wings.
Wound and Fear wing.
Yeah.
By the way, I think this could go under featured instance because I think the Gorgoroth loot boxes I have discovered are now spitting out things for PvP.
Yeah. Now, they did note that this is in addition to what you would have normally have received instead of replacing it.
That's good. I'm glad because
Okay.
it's like, I mean, even though I have a warg, I just don't go there often. So it's like, well, what am I going to do with all these Captain General symbols?
Yeah.
Or what am I going to do with, I forget what else, like Mozok's potion, I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like, were you trying to force me to go back into the Edmores?
Well, how
the other
would you
day I
get it
got
to your
10,000
work anyway?
I got 10,000 that's true. I wouldn't be able to. I did get 10,000 commendations, at least that. Yeah, you're right. I can't get Captain General symbols over to my warg. And a warg can't buy stuff on the auction house, so I can't sell them on the auction house.
The warg bids 5.
That's really good. Warg bids 5. That's great. Yeah, really. That doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, it wouldn't be nice if I could go do shared storage with my, creeps, so my warg could get. Yeah, so it's like kind of useless for me to have 10 Captain General symbols. I can't do anything with them. Sheesh.
All right.
I don't know. I assume those boxes don't drop for people in the moors.
The boxes drop. I don't know if any black keys drop.
Oh yeah, that would be the other problem. I don't know that my war could actually use a black key, so
The
Well,
whole
you
no
can
thumbs
use-
problem.
You can use the what are they? The regular steel keys on Anorium bound loot boxes in the Moors on a ward.
Oh, on a board. Okay, cool.
But Cordovan yesterday in the Court of the Rings show said that they were working to remove that from Freeps so that the Freeps wouldn't be getting all the useless PvP stuff for the creeps.
Oh, good for the creeps.
Yeah.
That'd be nice because I can't do anything with them.
But he did reiterate it's an addition too, so you get a little bit of
Yeah.
extra vendor money.
And then the other thing for me today was, oops, I did an oopsie. I've already topped out on my ash for the moment. And I opened a box and I lost whatever ash was in the box
Oh,
because I
no.
topped out. It's like, that was a real bummer. Yeah.
Oops.
So just folks that are at level cap or in the levels where you can get Gorgoroth loot boxes. And if you're gathering ash, just be careful because if you hit 10,000, it doesn't like stockpile it. You just lose it. Oh, unfortunately. That's not the way if you try to ash a piece of gear. If you try to ash a piece of gear, it tells you it can't do that, so you don't lose the gear. You can wait until you've got your ash back down again. But with the boxes, it doesn't do that. It just says, sorry. Wah, wah.
Yeah, I don't think it knows that until after you've opened the box, by which time it's too late.
It'd be almost nice if it would drop as an item that would just stay an item in your inventory if it couldn't be redeemed yet.
Would be nice, actually. And then you can open it when you need to, yeah.
It could just look like a pile of ashes.
Right. Now, there is a note concerning scaling instances where 106 to 114 scaling instances now reward items can be opened. Now, this is important because that includes skirmishes, because skirmishes were not giving you rewards in those levels, and that was one of my complaints about the Mordor update. So finally, they have fixed that.
Hooray!
And apparently, the spiders in Gorgoroth resource instances now have a chance to drop coin. I'm sure that Sans is going to run out and kill spiders so that she can see what kind of coins they are carrying.
Not on purpose. Nice of them to think of dropping coins, though. But then you have to no, you don't want to wonder where they got the coins or what they're doing with them. Ugh.
Well, they probably got stuck to the spiders through all that sticky web and all that fun stuff after they consumed the owners of the coins. Yeah. Okay, not a cheerful thought. There we go. And of course, another long-awaited thing that was added in this update: fiddles.
Has anybody tried a fiddle yet?
Yeah, I got one on Down with Bears, actually.
Yeah.
After reading the dev diary, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Yes, I've decided that my snooty high elf minstrel, her new instrument of choice is the hick fiddle.
oh, I thought you were going to say that she was going to say, it's not a fiddle, it's a violin.
That's right. That's right.
Well, because I was thinking about it, and I'm pretty sure that the fiddle wasn't actually invented yet 3,000 years ago before she fell asleep. So,
well, there is that.
Of course, I don't know if necessarily the violin had been invented at that point either. So she probably doesn't even know what the heck it is.
Well,
she just likes the way it sounds.
Yeah, I noticed that the word fiddle is older than the word violin, and I don't know whether it's because we first encountered it, we first called it a fiddle, and then later the Italian word came into our language, or if it's that we applied the word fiddle for a slightly different instrument at some point.
Well,
and
she's
that when
probably
the violin
calling
became
it by some fancy elf name for stringed instrument anyway.
You got a point there. Well, yes. Good
Please
point.
tell me it roughly translates to fiddlesticks.
Maybe.
I don't know if there is a Quenya word for fiddle. I suppose that it's the bowstring, yeah, or some weird thing like that where they could try to convert it into. And let's see, task boards. They updated the task boards so that from Rohan onwards, you drop any tasks that you collect on this stuff, you drop into a 65 to cap collection box. It could be any 65 to cap collection box that's anywhere, well, that'll be in the ranges from Rohan and up. I don't know the exact reason for doing this, but
I don't either. It's like you got to pick the quest up, the task up in that region, and then what? You're going to carry all the stuff around with you until you get to Thranduil's Hall.
Maybe some people pick up the quests without the items.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get that either because I usually wait to pick up the task.
Yeah, I do that too.
Quest.
I mean, I don't need the quest in my quest log,
but back in the day, I used to pick up the task quests, and then they'd hang out in the quest log for forever and a day, and then you didn't know where the heck to drop them off.
Oh,
so I
okay.
guess if you're just picking up tasks and then you can drop them as you go, then that's great. If you happen to be like, if you move out of the area but you still have open task quests and you've got the stuff that works for it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder if it helps with server lag too. Like, there might be something where instead of checking to see, like, oh, can this be distributed or dropped here for each of the boxes, now it's like there's just one, so. I mean, I don't know any of the back end stuff,
Except
but
I don't
it might
actually
be something
see
that would help.
a collection box in Rohan. Unless, is it Western Rohan? Because it's got to be Western Rohan.
Well,
I'm in Eastern Rohan and I don't see it.
What? Eastern Rohan doesn't? It should have the boxes.
It does not have a box.
Then how did we collect them before in Eastern Rohan?
You turn them in directly at the board.
Oh. And can you still do that?
As far as I know.
Well, we're going to have to check that.
Well, let me run back out to where the task board is, because I didn't actually check if I...
You're in Rohan right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in Floodwind.
Ah, all right. That's very definitely Eastern Rohan.
Uh-huh. Last I checked.
And note that the fiddle that currently we just have the student fiddle. Student's fiddle is which is purchasable from the bard, but there will be other fiddles that will be available during the festivals, and I will presume that maybe during the anniversary event. I think there's one of them that is specifically for the anniversary event, so therefore we'll also be seeing some for then.
And yes, you turn it in directly at the board.
Okay, that's still the case. Very well.
One more thing before we move on.
Yeah.
If you look under the quests and adventure areas, it's about the third one from the bottom. It says something secret will become available on March 21st.
Yes.
Does anybody know what that is?
No, it's a secret.
Okay, I didn't know if more information had come out or not, but so that's something to look forward to.
No, it's still currently a secret.
Now, does anyone have any guesses they wish to share to either make fun of or to be lauded as the great prophet?
I don't know. I'm just excited.
Yeah, and it'll be something coming out on March 21st. Now,
so long as it doesn't drop from the sky on a web with 8 legs, it should be pretty good.
Well, yeah, there is that because, right, that is how baby spiders sometimes get distributed, is to create these little web parachutes.
Sure Sans doesn't want to think about baby spiders.
Okay.
Well, I was actually remembering the spider queen who jumps down on top of you from a cliff in Southern Mirkwood.
Oh yes,
I bet you love that quest.
Oh.
Actually, I'm thinking is that this year we're supposed to have the spring festival before the anniversary.
Yeah, Spring Festival, I believe, starts this week.
Oh, this week?
I think this coming week.
Okay, because I was wondering if it was starting March 21st and that this was something special for the Spring Festival.
That would be
No,
cool.
I thought the start date for Spring Festival was the 17th. Or it may
Okay.
be the 14th. I forget. I'd have to look it up.
Well, the 17th is a Saturday, so...
Yeah, like I said, I'd have to look it up. But I'm currently riding a war steed and I'm in a race, so...
Though,
have to wait.
Yeah, it's...
It is not on the beacon, so...
Though the 21st is a Wednesday. So...
Right, that'll be during the same time as the second episode of the lay that's coming out.
Right.
So that's going to be an interesting thing for us to try to figure out. Then anything else? Oh yeah, known issues. First one is that instruments are invisible on the minstrel when using the coda of melody skill. I don't know how often I'll notice that. Okay.
I don't know what that skill is.
The coda of melody, that's when you have built up something with 3 and then you shoot it off in order to do one
okay,
big
so
slap.
that's on my 4.
Yeah,
All
that's your...
Got it.
Yeah. And the cosmetic armor, Slayer's raiment, helm, and boots do not change color, but do accept a dye. So, yeah, that's a little bit of an issue. So, therefore, don't waste your dyes on that at the moment. Then, the Northern Mirkwood map does not accurately display your avatar's location. Oh, well, that is...
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, no kidding.
Jeez.
That explains a bit.
Yeah, doesn't it? I mean, it's close, but not exactly. You know, it's like it's kind of in the general area, but not. You know, and it's also, and that messes you up because you know you've got your quest, your map where you've got your quest listed, so it's got like this colored areas and stuff, and there's some of them that the colored area is really small, and your avatar is not showing where you actually are. It's just like, oh my god.
Oops.
Yeah, so that's a little bit on the off. I had thought that it was as you had in some of the old areas where the style of drawing the map just wasn't in sync where everything was, because you have that on occasion. And I had thought that that's just what it was. But all right, but I see it's in the known features now, so
yeah. Hopefully they'll fix it. I mean, the place where it was, you know, noticeable, where it's not that big of a deal, is you know, it shows on the map that you should be at the road, and you're not at the road.
Yeah.
And it's like, where's the road? But the one that I found frustrating is, you know, when you've got the thing where you've got to be in a particular spot for the deal to come up on your screen, you know, to show that you've completed whatever the next step is. So you like, trigger the thing to go off, like, you know, now you see tracks kind of thing. But yes, I'm running all over the place trying to find it. Even though I'm in the little circle of color, it's not tripping. I'm just like, oh my God, this is terrible. Anyway, so I'm glad it's in the known features because hopefully they'll fix that. I mean, it's not a big deal. You're not like, you know, you're not like 100 meters away or something, but still.
Now they are planning a update next week in order to take care of at least some of these items.
Oh, good.
And of course, they talk about the extra stuff from Monster Play that people are getting.
Yay.
And the event scheduled by Cordovan says the Spring Festival should start on March 15th, 2018 at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
Okay, there we go.
So yeah, this coming week.
Cool.
So therefore, my thoughts about the Spring Festival related have been just blown out the water, even before we got started. So anyone want to make a prediction that's not going to be blasted before we finish this section?
Oh, maybe the scavenger hunt will come back.
Well, Scavenger Hunt
well,
would be with the anniversary.
With the anniversary, yeah, but
Yeah,
that'll
but
be pretty close.
It could come back early. Obviously, it's not tied to the anniversary specifically because otherwise it would have ended when the anniversary ended.
Well, it's tied in the sense that they're going to add an extra one, for year 11.
Yeah.
Oh, they might. You mean they might bring it back early with just the first 10 and activate 11 for the anniversary? That's a possibility.
It could happen.
All right. Anything else anyone want to add before we head into Dev Diaries? Then let's head into the Dev Diary for Update 22, Legacy of the Necromancer. And this actually has several writers to it.
Mm-hmm.
So each one talking to the area. Dr. Octothorpe, who talks about the overall things about it. And giving a sense that's called Legacy of the Necromancer, which, although I did hear from the forums that one of the titles that was rejected was Too Many Kings.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And Maid of the Lions talks about the working on the area itself, talking about it's been a long time since we've been in Mirkwood, and now it's time to us revisit it. And then an artist, Mark Lizotte, talks about designing the look of it. And mentions the strategically located outhouses.
Which are pretty funny to go past and look at.
Yeah.
Well, look at the people outside, too. Some of them developed lines. The last time I saw them.
Yeah. And Chris Pearson talked about designing the world and all this stuff. And then, of course, he goes, but instead, we could talk about this stuff, but instead, let's talk about linguistics.
Yeah. Like why Thranduil's Hall is called Felagoth, the War Cavern, and not Felagroth, which is the Cave Cavern.
Right. Yeah, so it goes into a couple of linguistic puzzles on that matter. And then Elise Lansuevala, content designer, talks about
Lost Lore.
Lost Lore, yes.
The books. The pages that I rave about every week.
Yeah, so there are more pages.
So many pages.
Yeah, and
I'm so making like a Pokemon trainer because I've got to find them all.
Anything you anyone here wishes to highlight from the article? Then let's head into Meet the Fiddle, which is written by Darth Celtics, who did the work in order to bring the fiddle to life. And he also is doing this while also composing the music for the new zone. And he talks about what you had to do in order to get nice, realistic fiddle sounds. And this ties into the challenge that they have, in that one of the biggest complaints they're getting on the fiddle is that some of the players don't like the range. And of course, because the fiddle has the range of a fiddle. The in-game fiddle has the exact same range as the real-world fiddle. But of course, a lot of the music that people have composed in game, of course, was for the already existing in-game instruments. And of course, you can't just transpose a lot of it unless they were doing a piece of fiddle music without transposing it to another key or something like that. So stuff that was still in the range of the fiddle is probably going to be there. But a lot of the stuff, people, because we didn't have fiddles at the time, of course, the composers tended to go around transposing it to the instruments that were already in game. So now we have all this music out there that can't be played on the fiddle.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. It's one of the things that I discovered when I got down with Bears for Fiddle. I went through a lot of my ABC files and discovered kind of what works with the fiddle and what doesn't work with the fiddle. It's definitely a challenge that I'm sure the community will rise to, because I know we've got some super talented people out there.
Yes.
But you basically have to understand that the fiddle does not sound like instruments that we've had in game previously, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it just means that you have to be aware that music files that you have that work just fine with your other instruments aren't necessarily going to work the same way for the fiddle.
Yeah. I know that when I was doing my demos in the preview videos, at first I was going through some of the various solo pieces that other people had done and found. And yes, very often it would go down below the range of the fiddle. And on those pieces during the early times, on the early builds, they had sound effects down there on doing various things with your bow or something like that.
Do actually. They have a couple scratches and knocks, not as many as they did, but they do have some.
Okay, they do still have some on there. So those were right. So I noticed a lot of them were going outside the range then. So eventually I chose the one piece that I had ever done, and that piece I had done a straight transposition for from the original music, and it was a fiddle tune. So therefore, of course, it fit perfectly within the fiddle because it was designed that way by the original composer a couple hundred years ago, whenever, however old that piece is.
Right.
Now, I have a feeling there's going to be someone who's now going to say, hey, now can you get us a viola? I don't know the range of... Does anyone here know the range of a viola relative to a fiddle? I know it's obviously lower.
I don't, sorry.
Yeah. But all right, so that's all about the trials and tribulations of trying to do it. And they generated the sounds by using recordings from a fiddle. So it's not a synthesized sound or anything like that. These are actual sounds from a real fiddle. So I got the impression that there is a fiddler within the staff of Standing Stone Games. That's the impression, at least, that I got on that.
Or somebody that they know that they can call in.
They can call him. Right, it could be perhaps. Well, seeing how Darth Celtics is a composer, he has to know a lot of fiddlers. It's hard to compose without knowing fiddlers.
I don't know if this will help, but according to the internet, if you have C4 as the middle C, a violin goes from G3 to A7.
Right.
And a viola goes from C3 to E6.
So it goes down to low C then. You said?
Yes, it
C3.
goes from... Yes.
So low C, and the range of the... Actually, isn't that the bottom of the ABC file range? Or is it A3 that's the bottom of the A3?
I don't know.
Anyway, it could actually be done. It would be within the range of the ABC files area that I have a feeling on. So that's something to... Oh, G2 with our ABC. This leaves 7 notes below that can't be done. Oh, G3, G2 in the ABC system. So therefore, that means, it looks like A3, I think, is the lowest note you could play in the... So that means we could get a viola in there, and there'll only be a couple missing at the bottom there. All right. Now, with all that, does anyone else have anything they want to say about the fiddle before we head on to our store sales? All right, what's on sale this week?
Well, good question. Free sample this week is a +5 Hope Boost ×1 with coupon code HOPE, HOPE, now through March 15th, and 20% off character slots, veteran status, stat packages, and XP boosts.
All right, then let's head into our site news, and we have 2 articles by Squirrely relating to our instances, where he talks about the highway to Erebor and the side path to Erebor. And he's, of course, talking about the Road to Erebor instances that were released years ago. And, of course, he timed that to come out at the same time that we are having Erebor itself released. So the side, right. And the side path to Erebor, he talks about the 3-player instances where we have the Erebor's Peak, the Seat of the Great Goblin, and of course, Sans Winda's favorite, Webs of the Scuttledales.
Actually, my real favorite of this whole thing is talking to Gandalf and getting an Instaport to Rivendell. Gandalf knows how to arrange swift travel when he has a mind to.
Well, there is that too.
Way better than the Scuttledales. Yeah.
And in the Highway to Erebor, it talks about the raid, which is divided into 3 parts. But his favorite, though, of it is not any of the raids, but the Bales of Dale, which is the 6-player instance.
I think that's a lot of people's favorite. I know it's one of mine, just because until we just recently got Dale on landscape, it was the only time you could see Dale, which looked completely different from anything else that we had in the game.
Right. So we were all one. Has anyone gone in there yet to compare the instance to the actual landscape now that they're both out?
I'm pretty sure it's the same. I mean, I haven't absolutely tracked it, but the end part of the instance where you see the last boss, right, that's actually there, and you go in and actually get a quest from Bard the Third there. Okay. And then so I was trying to figure out. It's kind of a little bit hard, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. You know, the upstairs, downstairs, over bridges, you know, all that kind of stuff. But it was a little hard to. I mean, I almost would need to do the instance again. And even then, I probably would be hard, but I think it's pretty much the same.
Okay. They might have tweaked some things here and there that they thought might not work, but
probably,
and make everything a little bit easier to access, because I'm sure there are a lot of things that were designed intentionally for the instance to be a little harder to reach.
Right. But I know when I was running around Dale, the new Dale, you know, I was like, it was kind of like this path, this way of getting to XYZ seems familiar to me from the instance. But so it was more like a feeling, you know, as opposed to like actually mapping it out. But definitely the end thing where you go in and see the last boss. That was really cool to see that, and it's the same. It's exactly the same as with Erebor. You know, the battle for Erebor, which is the raid part of the Dale of the Erebor chain. That's the outside of Erebor. I mean, in the game now. It's just that it's duded up, just like Dale is.
Right. Then let's head into our new player question. And Arandis, what is your question this week?
Well, my question is specifically for Maven, but everybody else can jump into if they want. Maven, what are some things that you wish you knew about the game when you first started?
Well, it would have been useful for me to know about just sort of like MMOs in general. You know, I mean, a lot of the stuff when I was first starting, you know, like for example, when Corey and I, when we were noobs, he and I quested together. And for example, this is going to sound so stupid to people that I would even not know this, but I had never played before. That as a ranged DPS character, I should be letting the tank go first when we're in the barrow downs. He had to like train me. It's like, no, don't go. Stay behind me. Stay behind me. So that's kind of just general MMO stuff. But I think in the game, it would have been useful for me to have known ahead of time that Glordrill didn't actually have to buy every single milestone that's available. She's a hunter. She didn't have to buy every single milestone that's available. So she now has like all these hunter guides, and she's topped out on milestones. And I'm like, I didn't really need to have all that many milestones. And my other non-hunter characters are getting by just fine without all the milestones. So that was one thing. I can't really think of anything else. I mean, I've told my stories about, when I got the easily lost title, I thought that really meant that somehow the game had been like, there was some metric where they were tracking me and they were timing how long it was taking me to get around. I earned that title based on, because I hit a metric. But yeah, I'm glad I came in the way I did, because getting to see Middle Earth, was just like awesome. And I don't know that there was anything I needed to know ahead of time. Anybody else? I think Sanswinda would have liked to have known what the different colors over the NPCs' heads meant.
Yeah, that's true. Though maybe in retrospect, I had more fun not knowing and finding out that I could do more things than I would have thought I could.
Yeah, that's correct. And I'm sure Pineleaf cannot remember back far enough. When you first started the game, golly.
Well, back when I first started the game, the game changed quite a bit since then.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
And I can't think of anything specific that I wish I had known when I started.
I wish I had known what the mini-map was, and that it can give you useful information about your immediate surroundings.
Well, there is that. Then let's head into the second question. What's the second question?
The second question is, what are some of your favorite parts of the game? Now, that could be landscape, that could be quest lines, that could be anything.
Wow. I think as far as quest lines, I really enjoy Volume 3. I really enjoy the, Grey Company part of the story. I think that's really cool. I love Rohan. I could do Rohan over and over and over again, because I just think the stories in each town and the way they're woven together. And I'm actually, assuming I finished my thesis, I'm doing my thesis on this, which is that it's basically fan fiction in Rohan. Well, I mean, so much of the game is, but in Rohan, I mean, they really had to like build out the stories. And so many of the stories echo that whole betrayal of Saruman Wormtongue thing. I mean, it would, because there was like, you get to see it when you first start in Stangard, where you've got the people, loyal to the king, and people loyal to the king without Grima, people loyal to Grima. It's like you've got these factions. And then throughout the whole thing, you've sort of got variations on that theme. And I think they're really interesting how they do them. So I really enjoy that. But I would say when the day is done and the chips are down and I'm a weary Middle-earth warrior, I go back to the Shire. The Shire's awesome. It's just really nice to just kind of hang out there and watch people argue about like little minutia.
While the entire world is falling apart.
It's falling apart. Yeah, they're completely oblivious to it. Yeah. But yeah. And like I said earlier, I mean, standing stones and their landscapes, I mean, seriously, they need to do like a tourist class. So people who really don't want to play the game but just want to travel in Middle Earth could just do that. I mean, that would be so awesome to do that, because it's just everywhere in the game is pretty. Well, I mean, Angmar is pretty. Well, if you put it in like the context of the people that live in Angmar, it's pretty. I mean, that's not It's Angmari. And parts of Moria are a little, and Mordor. Well, Mordor's got its own kind of beauty to it, really. I mean, it's beauty. I'm kind of stretching the meaning of the word there, but
just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. But it's cool. I mean, it's really neat the way they've done it. So yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. That was kind of a rambling response.
Yeah. And therefore, let's head into our week in LOTRO. And Ariandis, do you have anything to share with us?
I do not. I had a really busy week this week. Sadly, was not able to play. The closest I got was patching. So hopefully next week I'll have a little bit more to talk about. So.
All right. Then Sans Windows, then, what were you up to?
Well, I actually did a lot of things, so I'll try to condense this. But I started Epic Volume 3 with Cinders. On our level 80-something characters, we were headed into Wildermoor, and I said, we should really do the Epic through here, too. And she persuaded me to start at the beginning of Epic Volume 3. And I was like, oh yeah, that's not going to take us very long, and we're going along, and we get to a cave where you get to destroy statues. Sorry, spoilers. And she says, wait, who's a Marthiel? Who's Mordorith? And I realized that I needed to spend a lot more time playing the Epic with my sister. So, that is now on my to-do list, and then I tried rushing her through the second half of Volume 2 to get ready for the new content, because I realized then she wasn't going to know that either, and then discovered that there was a lot of stuff that needed to go back to the beginning of Volume 2 for too. So yeah, I've got my Epic work cut out for me again. And yeah, oops. So fortunately she's gracious, and I think we're going to do some Epic questing in the coming weeks. And I worked on the new Black Book on my High Elf Hunter with Terry and Pineleaf. Until we were sent to Mirkwood, and I realized she hadn't done the Mirkwood Landing instance yet.
Oh no.
It's
rather a pattern here.
I know. It's a horrible pattern. I'm like, well, I did it once. I know the story. I'm good. Let's do all the side quests that I didn't get around to the first time, because I want to see those stories too. But I still have to do the Epic.
Yeah, when you guys wonder why I say I'm doing the Epic on multiple characters, like, all the time, I'm always going through the Epic story, this is why.
Like, I kind of wish I just had, like, a character transfer thing, like, I've done this all once, let's transfer that knowledge to all my alts. But no. So she, could not go into Mirkwood because she had not done the Mirkwood Landing, so even if she landed in Mirkwood, she would not have a stable master or be able to get around. So, yeah, I switched to Sans, finished up there, and it was really cool. I was really enjoying following the Black Book into Mirkwood. But then I switched back to my High Elf, and she, Pineleaf and Terry, you will be happy to note, can now enter Mirkwood. She not only can enter Mirkwood, she can take people to Lothlorien and to Mirkwood. And I double-checked. Because she is a High Elf and she has the racial port into Inner Karis Gladhon, I double-checked, and you can, if you have enough Leaves of Lorien, or Branches of Lorien, or whatever they are, if you have enough of the barter thing, 20 of them, at acquaintance standing, and have managed to infiltrate Karis Gladhon, you can indeed buy the guide to Karis Gladhon at acquaintance standing.
Yes.
I can't imagine any character besides a High Elf can infiltrate Karis Gladhon to do so, but she did so.
If you've done bingo.
Bingo let you run loose?
Part of the Epic.
Well, yeah, but I thought you could only go into the inner part for the Epic.
It counts.
Like, you could actually run to the rep vendor from there? It takes you to the real thing, or does it just take you to talk to Gladriel?
No, it takes you into Karis Gladhon and you get to run around.
Sweet. Alright.
For the epic, I think Terry Ed was talking about some of the later parts in volume 3, not
bit.
volume 2.
Not the volume 2 bit, but the volume 3 bit.
Oh, fine. Anyway.
I mean, it's better than questing all the way to Lothlorien until the silly elves actually let you go there.
And she got her friend Rep too, so she can walk through the gate when she wants to. And use the stable master, kind of. Apparently you have to do some quest deed too. She's not doing it anytime soon.
I don't blame you. Thing in the tree sucks.
Because she needed to go and get her port to Mirkwood too, so that she could actually be a more proper hunter. She still has a lot of ports left to gain, but she can port people into southern Mirkwood now. So that's good, and she discovered Ostglad, and yeah, so she should be ready for more questing. And then, during the field trip, I braved level 53 mobs at level 16. Because my captain...
Oh, look at that. Yes.
My captain on Arkenstone wasn't a high enough level to pick up the quest from the camp on the way to see Candaith yet. And apparently those quests were really important. They were even more important than I was able to pick up. So... So the obvious solution presented by Zerak and Pineleaf was to go turn in some bounties, which required getting back to Breeland, but there were a bunch of level 53 mobs between us and that area, so we bravely rode through. Well, some of us bravely rode through. I think Pineleaf managed to go around the first time, and turned in some bounties, gained 2 levels thanks to the XP boost weekend. Went back through the level 53 mobs. I was only unhorsed by them once, though, so that's pretty good. And helped Candaith, helped the people at the camp, retook Weathertop with 3 people in a fellowship. That was fun. And reached level 20 without much trouble in open skirmishing. So, it was pretty good. Maven, how was your week?
Well, I was on a business trip all week in New York. Had two nor'easters come through.
Oh yeah, we did have that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, which I ended up, and the client closed the building both times, so I ended up in the hotel working. So that was just awesome. Oh, and then what happened the first time it happened? The hotel actually lost its Wi-Fi, so it was.
Oh. Good.
Anyway, but I did take my gaming laptop with me, and I did the patch, but I only managed to get 2 nights of actual questing in the new area. And then did a third night was actually with 2 friends of mine, Frank and Tracy. One is an 88 Berg and the other is a level 92 Cappy. We actually took a tour of the new area, sticking to the roads as much as possible. And I made a discovery. I had been complaining. I mean, I've been complaining, not complaining, but I had observed to people from the day I stepped into the Erebor Allegiance Hall back when Mordor opened up, that it's like, wow, you got to run all over the place because it's like they don't let you ride horses. Well, Tracy discovered, yeah, you can't ride horses, but you can ride goats. So you can ride goats in Erebor. And I'm like, I can't believe I never even tried that. So anyway, so that was nice to know. That was a discovery that I very much enjoyed. And then today I got friends standing with Thranduil's elves, and I took a very wet trip from Thranduil's Hall to the lair of the raft elves, and I made another discovery, which is that I had not mentally updated my mental image of the raft elves. So when I went to their place, I was expecting Keebler elves, which is what I've always envisioned. The day I first read The Hobbit, when I was like in whatever, 6th grade or whatever, I'd always envisioned the raft elves as like Keebler, not as Keebler elves, but like those kind of elves, like Keebler elves living in trees. I had never really thought of the raft elves as any other kind of elf, like, Sindarin or, and it was so funny because I get in there and I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. So I had never updated my mental, I was looking for the little guys with the little peaked hats, it was the weirdest experience for me because I just had never, I never given it a thought. And I realized, like all these courses I've taken in Signum for the Hobbit, every time we talked about the Raft Elves, I always had that image in my mind, just like unconsciously. So funny. So funny. It's like, this does not look right. So anyway, so that was pretty fun. How about you, Terry?
Well, I spent more time on Langeville Terry this week than I have in a while. Because, we were doing the Black Book, which, by the way, is really, really awesome. I'm super excited. Like, I can't even tell you guys how excited I am about the bits where the story is going. However, that said, I have been like poking fun at the story quite a bit. Like any kind of like seeming in discrepancy, I'm all over it. So I actually streamed it this week because I talked to. Okay, well first of all, you get the introduction to the new area. Like that quest pops up automatically. And you have to talk to Galadriel in the court of Celeborn, which is where I was standing because I kind of gave up on the whole allegiance thing because elves. So, and I'm reading Galadriel's text aloud, and she tells me to go talk to Thranduil in his hall, and I'm like, wait a minute, he's standing right next to me. Why do I have to go to his hall to talk to him? Because he's right here. So that happened. And then we get to Mithrandir, and I start reading that, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, I need to stream this. Because, Mithrandir starts off by saying that it's been however many months since the end of the last update, and the end of the last update ended with this meeting of badness in Mordor. So, like, cliffhanger type of thing. And now Mithrandir's decided that this is a bad idea, that they met and might be forming an alliance. I'm like, really? Because I thought that was a bad idea even before we went to that meeting. So bits like that. Those will be, like, every Thursday on my Twitch channel. Because, that's lots of fun. You can never pass up the chance to make fun of NPCs. But, that aside, I am really having entirely too much fun in the new area. And logged her out in Thranduil's Hall, because I didn't have to go exploring Thranduil's Hall, because I did that in beta, and they still don't have any snacks.
Oops.
So I don't know how they want us to make ourselves welcome. Like, Terry's fine, but she's traveling with a pair of hobbits who I know are not going to be okay with the fact that there's no food here.
Well, I did stuff a bunch of snacks in my pockets, though.
Yeah, it does
like
help.
They had to bring their own snacks. That is just not appropriate for entertaining hobbits.
And in fact, in the YouTube stuff that I've been doing, I think my latest episode that I posted, I was poking fun at that.
Well, I mean, how do you tell a hobbit to make themselves welcome and then not offer them snacks?
Yeah.
That's just rude. However, I know Trish is super excited about the fact that she doesn't have to run all over the place in Erebor, but I've got to tell you the fact that everybody and their brother and second cousin once removed, or whatever the bingo thing is riding over me in Thranduil's Hall on their silly horses. I am not happy with this. It's like, this should not be happening. I should not have to deal with people riding over me. And like, he needs if they're gonna, because Erebor is huge. There's lots of wide open spaces. Thranduil's hallways are way too narrow to have players in there and horses. So,
especially when the horses are antlered elk, take up like the whole hallway.
Or goats. My favorite bit was the role playing dwarf on a goat. I'm like, really, dude? You cannot possibly be seriously role-playing that you're a dwarf on a goat in Thranduil's Hall. There's no way. Because you know that would be a no-no if that was actually Thranduil's Hall.
That would be pretty funny if goats weren't allowed in Thranduil's Hall at all.
I'm pretty sure dwarves aren't allowed in Thranduil's Hall yet.
Oh, well, they'd be given they have special rooms for dwarves.
Yeah. They're even very secure. So long as there aren't hobbit burglars helping the dwarves.
That's exactly right. So, and in other news, I took advantage of the sale on character slots to fill up my pages. So now I have even pages again. I have 25 character slots. And of course, I had to use the character slot on Landreval because that's my main server. So it's where all of my slots are full. So I have a new High Elf Hunter on Landy, who is my first High Elf on Landreval to actually have a serious elf name. I don't remember what it is, but I know it's a serious elf name because I did random until I found something I could live with when I put IEL at the end of it. So I don't know. I'm sure it means something. It probably means nothing to do with High Elf Hunter, but it's a name that looks elfy. And I got her up to level 17. Just in the starter zone is kind of bizarre. Yay, double XP weekend. And my Elf Warden Melethriel continued volume 3. She's finished the session plays for the Breaking of the Fellowship, so she's now properly in Rohan at level 80. Which is awesome because Rohan.
I have an 18 High Elf champion in the starter area. We should get together.
Except you're never on when I'm on because I'm on all the time right now.
Oh, true. Yeah, you'd have to wait for me. That wouldn't work.
Yeah, usually it's the other way around. Usually I can't get you to wait for me. Yeah, and except I just took her back to Stangard so she could get her muster because, wardens. Wardens need the travel skills.
Right.
But yeah, looking forward to Rohan because Rohan's one of my favorite areas. Isn't it everybody's favorite area?
Except when you have to do mounted combat. Or at least for me.
About the mounted combat, I actually, it's funny you mentioned that because the early part of the show, I actually was redoing the mounted combat tutorial in Harwick. Did you guys know, by the way, that the mounted combat tutorial is repeatable, which is good because when you do it the first time, you don't actually have all of your combat skills. So you can repeat it after you've done it the first time and actually see what your combat skills look like and kind of sort of how to use them.
Oh, that's useful.
So, yeah, and relearning how to Warsteed because I always can use tips on how to Warsteed. I mean, when in Rohan, you do the Warsteed thing.
Yeah.
Pyleaf, how was your week?
Let's then begin on my Crick Hollow Warden. On my Sunday group, we ran some small fellowship skirmishes. First, we ran a pair of Mirkwood skirmishes at Tier 2s, and that was Dananglor and Thonglehod. Then after that, I decided, let's see how we can do, only Tier 1 though, against Icy Crevasse. So we went into there, had no trouble going all the way through. Then we get to the boss fight, and we're doing really great at the boss fight. We get the boss down, and now all we have left is a mammoth. The mammoth is now at a slight sliver going down, and of course, the mammoth is doing its usual thing about pushing the tank all over the place like I was a billiard ball or something, and then pushes me right through the entrance.
Oh no.
They cheat! Because let's face it, when you're being pushed by this thing all over the place, you get disoriented and you're not too sure. Okay, because I'm trying to wedge myself so I can get as far away from the entrance as possible. I'm so disoriented by this part of the combat because between all those red circles all over the place and the green slaps on the floor and being pushed all over the place by the stupid mammoth, it's like sometimes it's hard to tell where I was. I lost track of where I was. I got pushed through. So we had to do it a second time. Second time didn't go so well because I think we had some of the worst lieutenants. And then the third time we finally got it done. I made sure that I was nowhere near that entrance and we finished it finally. Whew. So that's Icy Crevasse. We can do it. Tier 1. I don't think we're quite up to doing it in Tier 2 yet since the update. My Crick Hollow Warren also started in Northern Mirkwood. I'm doing this for my YouTube series Pineleaf in the Northern Kingdoms. I've so far managed to complete Chapter 5, and I'm in the early parts of the places up there. Let's just say I've got to the point of where I've got a pretty good idea why the spiders are missing. But I've only posted right now up to a part where I'm doing stuff still inside of Thranduil's Hall. Then on Arkenstone, on my High Elf Lore Master, I was doing epic stuff with Sans, and after we were finished, I headed over to Breed after the field trip so that we could do the skirmish tutorial and to search for some scholar mats so that I could finally finish the apprentice level on the scholar. And while I was doing this, I was, of course, in the Chetwood area where that infamous warg is.
Mhm.
And this time, there were two of them.
What?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, there are two of them, side by side on each other, going through the chair. And I decided it was a public service to get rid of them, just in case there are any low people in the area. It's bad enough having one of them around, but with two of them, so therefore I went and attacked them. And well, I was level 23 at the time. The wargs are 15, so I didn't have too much trouble. Just mez one and take care of the other one, then take care of the first one. So I took care of that, and now the Chetwood was safe until it gets another double spawn of those ridiculous wargs. So now, Maven, do you have any final words for us before you say farewell for a while?
Oh, gosh. Well, don't forget me. Don't forget about me. I'm still here and I'm still around. I'm just not around as much. So, everybody just don't, it's like, let's not get 3 months down the road and go, who was that person again? But it's been a blast. It's really been a blast. And it took me a long time to really decide, and I just decided it's really the best thing to do. I mean, I just super enjoy the community and really have enjoyed doing the show, and I love you guys dearly. So, wave at me when you see me in game, and hopefully we'll get to do stuff together. Well, I mean, I'm still doing Girls of Middle-earth, so, that's not going anywhere. And I'm still going to be, at least the front end of Corey's classes on Tuesday nights, so that's happening. But anyway, so it's been great. It's been a really good run. I mean, I got to tell you, actually, it's interesting to go back to Arendis's first question. I listened to LOTRO Players News, back issues of LOTRO Players News when I first started the game, because the show helped me understand the game and understand what I was doing. So to have been able to have the opportunity to be a co-host was kind of like sort of giving back to the community, if you will. It was really a nice thing to be able to do because the show had helped me so much. So anyway, I will see you guys. I'll still see you guys, and hopefully you'll have me back for visits.
For visits.
Yes.
Of course. And thanks for being on, Maven.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been fun.
We currently have 18 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious band of players and help support LOTRO Players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. This week we did not receive any emails, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast at LOTROplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, LOTRO Players at LOTRO Players, Arendis at Arendis, Maven at Tolkien Maven, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles, Senswinda at Senswinda, and Terry Edwin at Terry Edwin. The Players Alliance has 4 shows every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News. Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. Every other Thursday at 9:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have XP Quest. And on the first Tuesday of each month at 9:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Chromatic Bits. You can join our live shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pilot Mules reminding you to skirmish responsibly.